County Circuit Court, where Real Housewives of Potomac star Karen Huger was just sentenced to 2 years in prison, 1 year mandatory, 1 year suspended. And of course, she's known to be a popular housewife in the Potomac, in the DMV, noticed and recognized by many. There was a lot of fans that were outside a little bit earlier showing their support. And during the sentence, she actually stood up saying that she recognized that she had made some mistakes in her past. Of course, she was sentenced after being convicted in December 2024 for DUI. She was actually convicted by a jury on 5 out of the 6 counts, including negligence, including driving under the influence. She was acquitted on reckless driving, but of course the judge had mentioned that, you know, this is not her first offense. Even the state was saying that this is not her first offense. Karen Huger had actually been charged in the past, and in multiple instances. She had DUI incidents in years of 2006, 2007, 2010, and the state was pretty much saying that, listen, something's got to give. This is just totally unacceptable and unacceptable behavior. And the state was asking for a little bit more of a stricter punishment and stricter sentence, and unfortunately that's what she heard today. And so she has been taken into custody. Of course, her family was behind her. Her husband came in and made a statement saying that he had recognized the type of progress that she had made. She had been doing a lot of rehabilitation, but the state had actually countered the argument, saying that she hadn't made that progress until after being sentenced. And so they wanted to make sure that these types of incidents do not happen. Karen did address the jury. She did address the judge, saying that she had recognized, she understands how lucky she is that she hit a tree. Of course, everybody saw that viral incident after the crash in March of 2024, when she was seen slurring her words. She just refused to take a breath test and basically just telling them, do you know who I am? And that's what the state was saying, that she seemed like she might have been entitled, and that's why they were pursuing a much more harsher punishment this go around. She has been taken into custody. If you're just tuning in, Karen Huger, the Real Housewives of Potomac star, has been sentenced to 1 year mandatory in prison. And again, she did address it. She had her family behind her. Her sister let out a big cry right after she had been signing those probationary documents. And of course, Huger doesn't go home. You know, after this sentence, she is being taken into custody. She was taken into custody inside this courtroom. She will be booked, she will be processed, and she will begin to serve that 1 year sentence, even after all of the work that she had done. I mean, since December into February, when the sentencing had taken place, she had finished a series of rehabilitation, mentioning that she was changed. She said, to use my unique and optic lens to teach others. She had done work with Mothers Against Drunk Driving. She had mentioned a young boy named Kevin who had done the exact same thing, driving under the influence. Unfortunately, he had hit a car and he was dealing with brain damage. And she had mentioned that that is not the same situation that she wanted to be in, and she recognized the how critical it was to be driving under the influence. But again, the judge was mentioning, this is not your first offense. She has had incidents prior to, in the last 17 years, 4 incidents, and the judge was adamant this could not go on, this would not continue, and it couldn't be a 5th incident, it couldn't be a 6th incident. The punishment had to have taken place now. So again, we're outside of the Montgomery County Circuit Court. Real Housewives of Potomac star Karen Huger has just been sentenced to 2 years in prison, 1 year mandatory. And another thing that I wanted to mention, it's just the fact that, you know, she has built this status as a Real Housewives. You know, the attorney came out. He had mentioned that she is at peace with this decision. But the attorney also mentioned in that courtroom just the amount of pressure that she might have been in, being in the spotlight. He had also mentioned after that sentencing that Karen was at peace with the decision that the judge had handed down, and that she was ready to do whatever was necessary in order to get better. Now, the defense did mention during this sentence hearing that she had issues in the past with alcoholism. She had had issues in the past, pretty much saying that she was mixing it with antidepressants and that was causing it. But again, the prosecutors and the state came back and said that because she had been on antidepressants for so long, it was not a good enough excuse in order to make the determination that the dosage was high or low enough in order for her to not be drinking and driving. And again, they continue to mention those previous incidents that she had had while driving under the influence, including reckless driving that she had served no jail time from 2006, 2008. They said that the ink hadn't even dried from the 2006 to the 2007 incident, and so they needed her to really deal with the punishment and to deal with the consequences of her actions. So if you're just tuning in, I am in Montgomery County. I'm outside of the Montgomery County Circuit Court, where Real Housewives of Potomac star Karen Huger has just been sentenced to 2 years in prison, and that was the maximum sentence, and the judge agreed with that. So he agreed to the maximum sentence of 2 years in prison, 1 year mandatory. Karen is not going home, and we don't know if she's going to be filming this next year of the Real Housewives of Potomac, but she has been taken into custody right now on these grounds in that Montgomery County Circuit Court because she was sentenced or found guilty by a jury back in December 2024 following that March 2024 DUI crash, and she had been sentenced earlier this afternoon. I also want to mention that courtroom was absolutely packed, filled to capacity. The judge made sure that there was extra seats provided to onlookers that wanted to come in and join. I also want to make a statement that he had asked that people turn off their cell phones while they were in it, because there was somebody that was blogging on Reddit about the day-to-day of what was happening at that time. And she had mentioned some other quotes when she had addressed the judge, saying she had written a statement saying that she took a hard look at myself and the direction that I was heading in. I understand how lucky I am that I only hit a tree. But here's the thing. During that March incident, she had actually hit a pedestrian crosswalk sign, which also made the judge enforce that 2-year maximum sentence penalty. She also said that she put a band-aid on her personal history. The defense attorney who spoke on our website, who spoke to 7 News, mentioning that even though she was at peace, she has dealt with a plethora of issues, including sexual assault previously, which forced her to want to drop out of BSU. He also mentioned her being on antidepressants, which was an issue for her. And so that these were just issues that she was dealing with that were mounting on for her in order to cope with being in the spotlight, in order to cope with this type of life. You know, the attorney also said nobody lives a charmed life. You know, we've all dealt with these types of situations, and he was asking that since she had been convicted by a jury in December of 2024, he had asked that she be given leniency. And of course, the judge and the state disagreed with that decision, saying that she's been giving too many options of leniency, too many chances of leniency. 4 incidents prior, and this one had to send a message. Karen Huger had had nearly 17 years of incidents in different jurisdictions. The judge also mentioned different jurisdictions with different DUI charges, and none of them had landed in a type of punishment that the state had received, that the state had asked for today. Many of those included just paying fines, just agreeing to go to rehab, and she had done that, but she had not actually faced the type of penalty of jail time, and the judge mentioned that that was going to change today. He wanted to send a message, a loud and clear message. He read about 6 to 8 pages of a statement of mentioning what his determination was going to be. And again, if you're just tuning in, Karen Huger, the Real Housewives of Potomac star, who's known as the Great Madame, known popularly around the DMV, has just been sentenced to 2 years in prison, 1 year mandatory, 1 year suspended, due after a DUI crash. She was convicted in March of 2024. She was convicted by a jury in December of 2024, and now she is currently behind bars. So in addition to that, make sure that you all stay tuned on our WJLA 7 News websites. Make sure you're following us on Twitter as we continue to bring you updates, and stay updated on 7 News as we continue to bring you updates on our shows and platforms throughout the day.